Tonight on JoyNews Prime, thousands of parents seeking admission for their wards into senior high schools still stranded over challenges with computerized placing system. Now, in some of the schools, some of the students who gained admission are being turned away by the authorities.
Went on Sunday, and they sacked some of them that very day. This early morning, we was going to dine. They told us they are bringing a new placement of students in. So those who came on Sunday, we should go back home.
The Ghana Education Service in the last hour has announced the establishment of solution centers as it works to resolve the challenges that have come up. Meanwhile, we're learning there are about 200 parents at the Independence Square right now who are still hoping that there will be some way out for them. We will bring you an update from there. On another news, Jamestown Assemblyman who led assault of JoyNews photojournalist during Joy Clean Ghana campaign task force charged the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has also issued a statement condemning his conduct. Opposition National Democratic Congress accuses the governing New Patriotic Party of deliberately pitching their centre-hini against former President John Mahama.
If we concede, Otumfuo engaged President Mahama before his concession, I don't see how that makes President Mahama less of a Democrat. Because democracy is about listening to people.
In business,
Institute for Energy Security warns consumers may pay even more fuel in the coming days following attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil facilities.
Also in the bulletin, the police has called a news conference at which we're expecting a major announcement. We will go live once the news conference gets underway. I'm Mr. Lion. JoyNews Prime comes to you live from the JoyNews studio at Kokomlimli here in Accra with digital address GA09925396. Stay tuned in. Now, as thousands of junior high school leavers report to senior high schools this week, there are several hundreds whose admission into schools are not guaranteed, at least for now. Some of them throng the Solution Center at the Black Star Square to attempt to get solutions to their school placement challenges. Now, Chronology reports at least 3 students and an adult passed out as chaos broke out there at the square on Monday. We will bring you a Chronology's report in a bit, but we're also learning that there are about 200 people who are still at the conference center as we speak right now this evening. But first off, let's bring you Chronology's report.
Under the sweltering sun, the junior high school leavers and their parents queued, hoping to get their placement challenges addressed.
Just see the crowd. Just see the crowd. When am I going to be attended? So it looks like the authorities should do something about this matter. In fact, this system looks like a crap. It should be scrapped.
I went for the placement. I saw it was there. That's what the Kumasi High, with aggregate and everything. They said I should come back to bring the child. I took my son. I was there just to tell me that the system has gone off. How could I? They were going to commit suicide.
Frustration, confusion, and anger visible on several faces. As a test of muscle and strength at the entrance of a solution center got intense, some, unable to withstand the chaos, lost consciousness. At least 3 students and an adult woman were rushed to the hospital, but that will not deter the hundreds from pushing for answers. Officials of the Ghana Education Service attempted some answers. Cassandra Chumampofo is Public Relations Officer of the service.
Schools with vacancies online, They have to go there and choose the schools for themselves. So that's the situation that it's happening here, and that's what I'm trying to explain. Most of them are also here because they want to change their courses. They want to change day to boarding, which they chose themselves. The cafe attendants are not helping. They go, and because they want money, they don't even allow them to go through the list of schools online because they want to quickly finish with one person and move to another person. So allow them, they just choose a school for them. On Thursday, I issued a release that they were to go back to the portal and do a self-placement again. We said that all those who did self-placement from between Monday 9th and then Wednesday 11th, they were to go back and do it again. Because we realized that, you know, when you self-place yourself into a school, the system picks it automatically. And then your name adds onto the school's list. But we realized that it wasn't adding, there was a problem somewhere. And it wasn't affecting. That's why they go back to the school and they are told that their names are not on their list. But that's not supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. So we told them to go back because there was a problem. And that's why, so most of them between Monday and Wednesday, they did it, and we told them to go and do it again. And they don't want to go and do the school again. Probably they have gotten a school that they don't want to go and change and all of that. So these are the issues that we are having here.
But the parents and guardians were less than enthused.
At least
So he says that they've left their homes, their jobs, and they've come here to attempt to find a solution. But it appears nobody is telling them anything.
Few minutes after midday, an announcement. Aggrieved parents were asked to return on Tuesday.
Unfortunately, our problems have not been solved, and then 10 minutes after 12 exactly, we're told that because of circumstances beyond their control, we should leave and then come back tomorrow. Yeah, but I think it's not the best.
So you're going to come here tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully, because we want our problems solved, we have to come here tomorrow. But they've not given us any assurance because of what we are seeing here.
Some school leavers had peculiar challenges, like this former pupil of Starlight Preparatory School.
We were registered with a particular index number, and we wrote BEC with that index number. When we went to check our results, it came all right. But on the placement, when we checked, they said our index number was wrong.
And that is for you and the rest of your colleagues. How many are you?
We are 7.
The student that had been admitted at the Diaspora Girls Senior High School in the Eastern Region was sacked after sleeping on campus for one night.
We went there on Sunday, and they sacked some of them on Sunday, that very day. Monday, when this early morning, we was going to dine, and they called us that we should come back to the office. When we went, they told us they are bringing a new placement of students in. So those who came on Sunday, we should go back home, and a new placement of students to get in.
Okay, so you were one of those who were there yesterday. So you were even almost settling. You had put everything there, your chop box and everything, only to be told that you should go home.
Yes, please.
In all, a fruitless outing for the hundreds of parents, guardians, and their wards. Komla Adum, JoyNews, Accra.
Now, the Computerized School Selection and Placement System, CSSPS portal, has been in existence for more than 5 years and is designed to allow students find out schools in which they have been placed. But challenges with the system emerge each year when students are yet to be placed. So what exactly is a problem? Joining us on the phone to get a broader perspective is Ben Odai. He's a former external lead consultant for the CSSPS. Thank you very much, Mr. Odai. Now, is this a problem of infrastructure or logistics or logic?
Good evening to your listeners. And well, this issue is more of a logic problem. I'll take it 70%. There may be infrastructure problem about 30%. Let me put it that way. Yeah. Now, it's more also to do with the policies and the choices of students that we have. Now, the parents of today will always want to choose schools that we know when we're young. So you find out that schools like Ghana National College have students over 35,000 choosing that school. Ghana National will take maximum 1,200 students. So what happens to the 34,000 and stuff like that? Now, based on that, if you do the automatic placement, you have a lot of students who are not placed because you're skewed towards certain schools. So when that happened years, let's say 2-3 years ago, what they used to do was to come to the GES center, they place this there, you come in, look at schools that have vacancies, then you choose the school. And we said that this was laborious, so let's improve upon the system. Let's do an app, which we call the self-placement, so that you don't need to come to the office. You sit in your house, go onto the app, look out for schools that there are vacancies, there are programs, then you put it on. Now, that was done. First year, it was good. But second year of it, it came out with a few problems in that 3 HSS was in. We introduced boarding and day into it. So when you go to self-placement, you need to know if you're going to do day, you're going to do boarding. In doing so, it slows down the system. 3, now you have to look at your program that you want to choose. So you go and see if I can get a program. It's slowing down the system. Then you add now double track to it. Once you choose your school, we now have to do double track. So you realize that the system gets slow and slow as we go. So based on that, you realize that once self-placement is open, we have about 120,000 students trying to hit the system at the same time. So if the logic is not so good, then the system is so slow that the whole thing goes down. I'm very sure that's the reason why when the self-placement comes up, it goes off. If it comes up, it goes down because the logic there is so heavy that it's not able to sustain everybody at the same time.
All right. So now, when you make reference to that, my basic understanding of IT would mean that we probably would have to make more bandwidth available or do something at the back end.
Thank you. So that also comes in. The bandwidth might have to huge. Then again, we might have to sit back and say, how do we organize ourselves that we have so many channels open so that when such people come in, they can use several channels so that you don't get choked at one channel.
Yes.
So that's another side of it. But then, those there, well, I don't know if they have the feel of what it used to happen before they went in to do their job. I can't say anything for them. I'm not there, so I don't even know what is happening there and what the problem is there now.
Okay, now, one of the issues that I find quite intriguing is some of the students have actually been selected, or they use a self-placement and they gained admission to a particular school. They've been there, they've obtained their prospectus, they've actually been admitted. One student was telling us that she was actually at the dining hall when they were told that you'd have to go back. How does that happen? If the system has placed them and they've been admitted, why are they being asked to go back?
Israel, you see, before we go into self-placement, we need to look at the vacancies at the schools. In all this that you are doing, you are looking at vacancies at the schools so that you don't overpopulate the schools. So if the vacancies are not done properly, I don't know how they did their vacancies or how they declare their vacancies. If the vacancies are not done properly, then what will happen is that you place students there and you realize that maybe Ghana has to do 1,000. You are doing 1,005, 1,006, which is more than they can take. Then you got to bring people back. Now, in the previous system, they had a HES model. Every headmaster was online. I don't know if they still have that now. So what it means that anything that is done goes straight to the head. But then again, that's why I'm saying the logic. If the logic is not right, then what it means is that you put a Reynolds data there, the student will go in and pick his placement. He gets to the school and realizes that this is Reynolds. Then you reverse it. I'm very sure they've reversed some of these things. I'm not so sure what has happened, but
all right.
I have a feeling those things have been reversed. So today your name is in the school. Tomorrow you go back, they tell you your name is not there.
Right. Now, Mr.
Those things might have been managed well.
All right. Mr. Oda, I'd like you to hold on for us a bit. We have a statement coming from the Ministry of Education, and I'll run the statement by you, and then I'll come to you if you can advise how this issue can be resolved, because the hundreds of parents, even as we speak right now, they are the Independence Square and they are worried.
Yeah, we have, well, because once the self-placement was reversed, what it means that everybody who did self-placement is gone to zero. You got to start again.
Wow. All right, please hold on. Let me run this statement by you. It's signed by the Communications Director of the Ministry of Education. It says, The Ministry of Education is taking note of the number of parents and candidates who have thronged the Black Star Square to seek redress regarding placement of the awards to senior high, technical and vocational schools. In essence, the total vacancies available in our schools far exceeds the number of qualified candidates. Now, Mr. Oda, I'd like to believe that that's one of the problems they're trying to highlight here.
Yes, that is true. The vacancies are more than the students.
All right, so we'll come back to that. These issues are mainly to do with change of school, 90%. Others include change of track, program, residential status, and self-placement issues. We wish to inform the general public that the selection of schools is the prerogative of the candidates, by extension parents and guardians. These choices cannot be changed by the GES or the computerized school selection and placement system. Data received from the West Africa Examinations Council, WAEC, is used, and parents and guardians are requested to accept placements to the school to which the awards have been placed. These choices were made by the students during the school selection process. Those who did not get their choice are requested to participate in the self-placement module on the CSSPS portal. The ministry wishes to reiterate government's commitment to the free SHS program in ensuring that no qualified child is left behind, and therefore appeals to the general public to exercise restraint as we work assiduously to rectify these issues within the shortest possible time. There are solution centers set up nationwide in these regional capitals. And for the parents who are watching the news, I'd like you to pay attention to this part. So there are solution centers set up nationwide in these regional capitals. Greater Accra region is a Black Star Square. Central region, Ghana Education Service Regional Office, Cape Coast. Western North-Western regions, Ghana Education Service Regional Office, Takoradi. Volta OT regions, Mauli SHS. That's where the solution center is for Volta and OT regions. Ashanti region, the solution center is at the Ghana Education Service Regional Office in Kumasi. The Bono Ahafo, Bono East regions, Ghana Education Service Regional Office, Sunyani. And then Northeast Savannah regions, Ghana Education Service Regional Office. And it continues. Now, I would want us to go quickly to the Black Star Square, where we're told that there are some parents still stranded there. Latif Idris is standing by. Latif, what can you report? All right, Latif, if you can hear me, bring us up to speed with what is happening at the Independence Square right now.
Well, Israel, if you can hear in the background, the claps you are hearing in Israel are coming from parents and their children who have gathered here. I can count not less than 200 parents and their children who are gathered here at the Black Star Square. Now, these people are coming from very far places, not within Accra. So they are unable to return to where they came from to come back here tomorrow. So they are going to sleep here this evening as a result of failure to get new placement, as it were. Let me quickly engage some of the parents and their children who are gathered here and are determined to sleep here. I must say that the claps you are hearing, the grounds here has now been turned into a church service. They are praising God, invoking the Spirit of God to intervene, so at least their children can get access to secondary education come tomorrow. They are also casting away evil spirits and all of that. That is exactly what is happening here. Let's quickly engage some of the parents. Okay, so you are live on JoyNews TV right now. Tell us the feeling right now. Where are you coming from? Let's start with that. Where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? You are coming from Kaswa. When did you get here today? If you can speak up a bit. You got here around 6. So who are you here with, if you can tell us? So this is your daughter. Tell us your name. Sorry? So which school did you choose?
I chose 5 schools. And none of them, they didn't give me none of them. And where I'm from, they gave me a school here, only two. Meanwhile, I don't choose any of those. And I asked for certain money, and he told me that if the school should change, and the school does, that was not the change.
And how difficult has it been for you to change your school since you got here?
We're standing on the sun, pushing, dragging, people even died, people even killed. It's like 5 people.
Wow. And you are looking forward to continue this exercise tomorrow? How confident are you that come the end of tomorrow you will get a placement?
If there's no placement, we will gather ourselves and do demonstration. I will go to the people house, and you see that we are.
Are you losing confidence already?
What can we say? Because some people have slept more than 4 days. Somebody can tell you flash the tea, and you bring back, and the person is going. Show yourself. What's already? So if maybe tomorrow they don't let us do anything, they don't give us anything, they don't do demonstrations.
Okay, so you are from Kaswa, you mentioned. Okay, thank you. So let's now get some more reaction from. So Israel, you just heard from a family. They are coming from Kaswa. That is close by, if you like.
For the moment, Latif, we'll take you off for the moment, so you get to speak with all the people who are there. But I'm going back onto the line now to speak with Mr. Ben Odai. In fact, we'll have to end that. We'll have to go off that one because, as I indicated, the police is holding a news conference right now. The IGP, acting IGP, I believe, is speaking. Let's go over to that news conference.
Priscilla Blessing Bintum, Ruth Love Quazen, and Priscilla Cranche. Investigations now established that the girls were victims of a serial kidnapping and murdering syndicate that operated in the Takoradi area. While for various reasons we were unsuccessful in obtaining and acting on accurate, actionable intelligence in good time to enable us to rescue the girls, we believe that the arrest of the culprits has effectively thwarted the ability of this syndicate to have continued with further kidnappings and murders. Now, I'll proceed to look at the sequence of disappearances of the girls. Miss Abekan went missing on the 29th day of July 2018. The second victim, Miss Priscilla Bintum, went missing on the 15th day of August 2018. Then on the 4th of December 2018, Miss Ruth Love Quason, the third girl, was reported missing. The disappearance of the fourth victim, Miss Priscilla Mantibia Kranchi, was on 21st December 2018. On the 22nd day of December 2018, one day after the disappearance of Mantibia, the police was able to track the number through which some ransom had been paid. This led to the arrest of suspect Samuel Oduetuk Wells to assist with the investigation. Samuel Wells later escaped from police custody on the 30th of December 2018, but was rearrested 3 days later in an uncompleted building at Nkrofo, which is a suburb of Takoradi. He has been convicted for escaping from lawful custody and brought to the CID, and he was brought to the CID headquarters, where upon interrogation, he admitted that he, together with suspects John Oji and John Shika, kidnapped the young girls and sent them by road to a location in Nigeria known as Baby Factory in Anambra State. He, however, denied knowledge of the whereabouts of Ruth Abeka. The evaluation of this confession and other intelligence reports from Nigeria on the location and modus operandi of this baby factory culminated in an assessment by the investigation team at this stage that they had a fair idea of the location of the girls and that it would be possible to bring them home. Between April and July 2019, several surveillance operations were mounted in Onitsha, Awka, Port Harcourt, and Calabar in Nigeria. These were locations where suspect Samuel Oduetuk Wells emphatically mentioned at different times as places where the girls were sent, and directed investigation teams too, with the hope of tracing and rescuing the girls. Upon collaboration with other intelligence and investigative agencies across West Africa, the second suspect, John Oji, was tracked and arrested at the Flower border on 4 June 2019. During interrogation, John Oji admitted to knowing Samuel, but denied knowledge of any kidnapping. John claimed that he had met Samuel to collect some monies owed him after Samuel had sent him to Tamale in 2017 to bring him a money ritual box. The two suspects were put together for questioning, and while Samuel insisted that John knew where the girls were, John, on the other hand, maintained his denial of any involvement in the kidnapping of the girls. Two officials from the Nigerian National Agency for the Protection of Trafficked Persons came to Ghana on 17 June 2019 to assist the police with the investigations. They interrogated both Samuel and Oji at the CID headquarters. These further interrogations did not yield any new actionable information. Effort to locate the girls in Nigeria also yielded no results by July 31st, 2019. The Nigerian leads, ladies and gentlemen, were assessed to have grown cold and unreliable as at that date. Then on the second day of August 2019, the investigation team was informed by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons in Nigeria that the third suspect, one Shika Inoidim, had been arrested in Abuja, in Nigeria. In a video interrogation of the suspects, Samuel Wells identified suspect Shika Inoidim John to the police as one of the accomplices. Suspect Shika also apparently knowing suspect Wells willingly spoke with him with regard to the kidnapped girls, and in the process, Wells asked Shika about the whereabouts of the kidnapped victims. In a confrontational exchange between the suspects, that it was suspect Shika and one Sogoma who came to Ghana for the girls and sent them to Nigeria, and that suspect Shika knew the whereabouts of the victims. Suspect Shika, however, denied this allegation. The Ghana Police Service is grateful to our sister security agencies in Ghana and the sub-region for their support. Re-examination of associated locations in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, on the second day of August 2019, the investigation team
We will try and re-establish connection with the news conference that's happening at the CID headquarters. But as you realize, the Ghana Police Service, the acting IGP, James Opon-Buenu, has been giving us a recap of the situation as far as the missing Takrady girls case is concerned. And he's giving us a chronology of events and how the leads that sent them to Nigeria grew cold at a point. He's been talking about the suspects who were involved. There's John Oji, there's Samuel Udotek-Wills, and Chika, who is presently in custody in Nigeria. And they have given us some details, but we expect...
Visited the vicinity of the uncompleted residence.
We're joining them now.
Where he had been rearrested. A water well was discovered around 7 p.m. With the benefit of lessons from the 2nd August discoveries, the Ghana National Fire Service was engaged to empty the well. This led to the discovery of a human skull, which was fresher than the 3 found in the septic tanks. Additionally, parts of a dress found earlier in the other house on 2nd August 2019 was also uncovered at this location. Again, Samuel Uduatu provided no coherent answers to questioning at the scene. However, the dress found was identified by Mantibia's father as belonging to his 15-year-old daughter. The remains discovered were subjected to DNA tests, the results of which have now been communicated to the families. The Ghana Police Service expresses its condolences to their families. The police administration commenced the investigation team for successfully arresting the perpetrators of these heinous crimes. While we wish we had actionable intelligence in good time to have rescued the girls alive, the painstaking investigations nonetheless have contributed to ensuring that the persons responsible are brought before the law and prevented from carrying out other similar crimes in the future. The intelligence work that led to the arrest of other suspects in foreign jurisdictions is also commendable. The police administration would like to encourage the general public to endeavor to always report suspected crimes to the police immediately they happen. The first 48 hours makes a critical difference in the investigation of cases. We further encourage the media to continue to play a bridging role between the police and the public, and support the police in getting the public as partners to provide information to assist police work. The Ghana Police Service remains committed to protecting and serving the Ghanaian public and will, at all times, ensure that the safety of the public is preserved. The suspects will be processed for court upon completion of the case docket and advice from the Office of the Attorney General. I thank all of you for your time. Where are they?
All right, so that's the news conference as we indicated earlier from the police CID headquarters. And the news, we must have missed something somewhere along the line, but the IGP indicated that the results of the DNA analysis conducted on the human remains were retrieved from the well and cesspit tank in Takoradi have been communicated to the families, and they indicated that they extend their condolence to the families. The information that has been communicated to the families, and they're indicating they're sending their condolence to the families, which simply just means one thing. The fact that the girls the human remains that were retrieved have been confirmed to be that of the 4 missing Takoradi girls. That's what we're getting right now from the news conference. We're hoping that they probably will be giving us some additional information, but the IGP essentially just went through a chronology of the events. As you can see, that we have the CID Director General, the COP Mami Atiwa, there in the photo, in the image, with the rest of the top cops. Mami Atiwa there with the rest of the cops of the police administration. If we could join, if we could go back to Maxwell Agbagba, who's there at the news conference to bring us up to speed exactly if we have missed anything. But Kojo Yangsing is also joining us. Hello, Kojo. So now this is what we're having from the police. It's essentially the 4 missing Takoradi girls who we have been praying and hoping that we could bring them back, or we have been campaigning for them to be brought back, are not going to come back.
To hold it myself.
Hello, Kojo. If you can hear me, this is where we find ourselves right now. You've been one of the people who has been following this case right from the very get-go. What we're learning right now is that the 4 girls from Takoradi who went missing and who we have been campaigning that they're going to be coming back, unfortunately, we can't have them back.
Where we find ourselves right now. We've been one of the people who have been following this case right from the very get-go. What we're learning right now.
Right, Kojo, can you hear me? All right, if we can get Kojo, we may want to go back to the police headquarters and get to speak with Maxwell Agbagba. If he can just bring us up to speed, we probably... All right, Kojo.
I hear you quite clearly. I'm hoping you can hear me too. This does come as quite a blow. We may want to go back to the police headquarters and get to speak with Maxwell Agbagba. If he can just bring us up to speed, probably.
All right, we're going over to Ina Thalia Kwanzaa. Whilst we try and resolve the issue with Kojo's line, let's go over to Ina Thalia Kwanzaa. Now, Ina, where are you? We know you're in Takoradi, but where are you at the moment?
Yes, Israel. Right now, I'm in the house of Ruth Lafayette, the third of the 4 girls who got missing in the Western region. As I was approaching to the house, I saw police vehicles moving out of the house. When I came, there is massive crowd and a lot of noise ongoing here. Apparently, they have come to inform them that the result is positive. I'm here with Michael Layford. He is the spokesperson for the family. He was here when the announcement came. Michael, tell me what exactly the police said.
Police are saying that the DNA report is positive, and we, the family, are saying that it's separate too, and we are not going to take it. We are not going to take it. So we are moving to the parliament for Interior Minister to drop, and then the CID to drop. They have to step down. They have to step down. They need to step down before we go crazy. They need to step down before we go crazy.
Hello, Israel. Hello, Israel.
Yes, Ina.
Yes, so there is a lot of tension. I can see the mother of Ruth Lafayette sitting. She's very sad. A lot of people are gathered in here. About 50 plus people are in the house. Everybody is making a lot of allegations. They said they are not going to take it. So from now to tomorrow, we should expect a demonstration, or they would come to the Parliament House latest by tomorrow morning.
So you say about 50 people are there. Are these family members or
these are family members and neighbors within the Diabene community?
So is it the case that right after the announcement was made by the police team that got there, the words got round and they invited them over?
When I was getting closer to the house, I saw about 3 police vehicles from the Western Regional Police Command leaving the house. So by the time we got here, the people were already gathered here.
All right, thank you very much, Ina. Tyler Kwanzaa, you stay on the line and try and get as much information as you can. If you can get to speak with any of the very close relatives of the victim, we will be coming to speak with you. But if we can get back to Kojo Yangsing, who earlier was on Skype with us, or Maxwell Agbagba, either of them. So, Kojo, here's where we find ourselves now. It has now been confirmed that the 3 girls, or the 4 girls now that we believed and campaigned that we're going to get them back, they're not going to come back. It turns out that all we can have are the skeletal remains that were retrieved and has now been confirmed as their bodies.
It's now been confirmed that the 3 girls, or 4 girls now that we believed and campaigned that we're going to get them back, they're not going to come back. It turns out that all we can have are the skeletal remains that were retrieved and has now been confirmed as their bodies. Yes, I have to say, this is a national tragedy. It is really not the outcome that the families were hoping for. But as you hear the police going through the narration of events, it starts to become clear that a lot was left to chance. There is quite a lot in this investigation that perhaps would not have happened if the police were on top of their game. For example, the fact that the police kept following the leads being given to them by the suspect. Everything they did was based on what Samuel Wills told them. They themselves didn't follow their own line of inquiry. They assumed that everything the suspect told them was true. And that has wasted over a year in the case of some of the victims. So now we find ourselves in a situation where months down the line, after the families have agonized for months and months, we are now learning that these girls were killed. And if indeed they were killed, they must have been killed literally the day before Samuel Wills was arrested, because the 4th victim disappeared the day before the arrest of Samuel Wills. So, I mean, it begs the question, why is it that the police were only interested in what the suspect Samuel Wills had to say? Why did they not follow their own lines of inquiry? Today we're hearing about how the minute they started tapping into the phone calls between Samuel Wills and the suspect in Nigeria, it led them to the possibility that these girls might actually be dead and not alive. The police have said that kidnapping is something new to them in terms of the types of crimes that they investigate here in Ghana. But I think the families today will be feeling that the police have really not done their very best in getting to the bottom of issues as quickly as possible. It would appear that all this time that we were being told by the CID boss, by the Minister of State at the presidency in charge of national security, by the Interior Minister, by the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, all this time that we were being told by these government officials that we know where the girls are, the girls were already dead. So why were they leading us on this wild goose chase? The whole nation will feel disappointment right now, not least the families of these poor girls who will never come home.
Kojo Yankson, but earlier it was we got when the IGP, the acting IGP, was speaking. He indicated how critical the first 48 hours of any case is to unraveling the issue. So it very much points to, or he very much agrees or ties in with what you had to say about the fact that these gentlemen were leading us elsewhere. The suspect was leading us elsewhere, and he actually indicated that yes, they were following leads in Nigeria until they realized that the leads grew cold. So yes, at some point, the police administration indicated to us that they knew where the girls were, and then that they were hoping to reunite them with their families very soon. There was some months back. It turns out that that didn't happen. The CID boss got heavily criticized for that, but as the police have told us now, they were based, or that information, they put out that information based on intelligence that they had gathered. Now, we have been speaking, or the Ghana Police Watch, the show was dedicated to all that was going on, the investigations and all that, and the head of the forensic team has been speaking. We also heard from Dr. Vladimir Chidansu, who had indicated how he felt that this issue should be traced. Now, let's get on to the phone lines, and we would get to speak with some other people who know a bit more about this case. So Maxwell Agbagba joins us from the CID headquarters, and where the announcement was made. Now, Maxwell, we probably may have missed something, but tell us exactly how the acting IGP put this announcement. Or Maxwell, if you can hear me, I'd like you to tell us exactly how the IGP put this announcement out.
Well, he walked in here at the police headquarters with members of the police management board, and he stated that it is with deep regrets that the human remains discovered in the course of police investigations into the disappearance of the 4 missing girls have turned positive as the remains of the girls.
All right.
He says the Ghana Police Service...
essentially, this was the first thing he said.
Yes, that was in the first paragraph of, what he, the statements that he read to us this evening. And he stated that the Ghana Police Service has, with regrets, therefore, informed the families that the remains are those of Ruth Abaka, Presla Blessing Bentum, Rutlaf Kwesen, and Prinsla Crunchy. He said investigations now established that the girls were victims of a serial kidnapping and murdering syndicates that operated in the Takrady area. He's saying that he stated that while for various reasons they were unsuccessful in getting and acting on accurate, actionable intelligence in good time to enable them rescue the girls, they believe that the arrest of the culprits has effectively destroyed the ability of the syndicate to have continued with further kidnappings and then murders. He goes on to give us a sequence of the disappearances and reports to the police by their parents. Yeah. And then he talked about the arrest of the first suspect. Now,
today we got to know a lot more details. He gave us more details. In fact, he stated that on 22nd December 2018, one day after the disappearance of Mantebia, the police they managed to track the number through which a ransom was paid, and he said this led to the arrest of the suspect, Samuel Udetek Wills, who assisted police with investigations. He says Samuel Udetek Wills, who escaped from custody on 30th December, was rearrested 3 days later in an uncompleted building at Nkrofo, a suburb of Takrady. He talked about his conviction and later talked about how they arrested 2 other suspects, John Oji and John Chika. He said John Oji and John Chika kidnapped the girls and sent them by road to a location in Nigeria known as Baby Factory in Anambra State in Nigeria. He's saying that the suspect, however, denied knowledge of the whereabouts of Ruth Abeka. The IGP continued to state that the evaluation of this confession and other intelligence reports from Nigeria on the location and modus operandi of this baby factory in Nigeria ended in an assessment by the investigating team at this stage that they had a fair idea of the location of the girls and that it would be possible to bring them home. He continued to say that between April and July 2019, they mounted several surveillance operations and in Onitsha, Oka, Port Harcourt, and Calabar in Nigeria. And he stated that these were locations where suspects of Udetek Wills emphatically mentioned at different times as places where the girls were sent and directed investigation teams to, with the hope of tracing and rescuing the girls. But one thing which is not really clear and that a lot of people want clarification on right now, a lot of the pressmen who are around want clarification on right now, is how the remains of these girls were actually found in the Western region when, according to the statement that was read, John Oji categorically stated that John Oji and John Chika kidnapped the girls and sent them by road to a location in Nigeria known as Baby Factory. These are questions that the press, the media people here wanted answers to. Unfortunately, we didn't get them because we told that this is just a press briefing and it's not a press conference, so we cannot ask, follow-up questions. But I'm sure definitely this will come up, in our subsequent engagements with the police, Israel.
All right. Thank you very much, Maxwell Agbagba. So Maxwell Agbagba just indicating to us that the police did not take any questions at all, but there are lots of questions that people would want answered, especially because of where the acting IGP indicated the chronology of events, saying that the girls at some point were sent to Nigeria. So if they had been sent to Nigeria, how do we find them ending up in wells and in a well in the cesspit tank in Takrady? But the police did not take any questions at all, and so we do not have that information. But the one thing that stands out, the names of the suspects have been given. John Oji, Samuel Udetek Wills. We know that these two are in custody. Chika, the third suspect who we know is in Nigeria as we speak, is in custody in Nigeria. We're trying to raise on the line a few other people who have knowledge about this case, who can probably shed some more light on it. But if you're listening to what the IGP had to say, he indicated that yes, they were following their leads in Nigeria. They believed that the girls were in Nigeria at some point, and they were hoping that they were going to reunite them with their families. It turns out that that did not happen, and now the DNA tests were conducted on the human remains that were retrieved in the cesspit and the well in Takrady. There was one retrieved in the well, and then 3 others retrieved in the cesspit. It was subjected to some DNA analysis, and it turns out that there are the girls, or there are the remains of the 4 girls that you have right here on your screen. They are dead. That's what the IGP just told us, that the missing Takrady girls, they are dead. Taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but we're not done with this particular story. We'll be bringing you a whole lot more on it. Do stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit. All right, so you're watching Joy News Prime, and if you're just joining us, the breaking news in the last hour is that the police have confirmed that the missing Takoradi girls, the 4 girls who went missing in Takoradi sometime last year, have been confirmed dead. This is as a result, or this follows results from DNA analysis conducted of human remains that were retrieved from a cesspit tank and a well in Takoradi. They conducted the DNA analysis on these remains, and it turns out that they match the relatives of the missing girls. Let's hear the acting IGP, James Opombonu, make this announcement that this was just in about some 40 minutes ago. Let's watch this.
A few minutes ago, officers of the Ghana Police Service informed 4 families in Takoradi in the western region of Ghana that DNA tests conducted on some human remains discovered in the course of police investigations into the disappearance of 4 missing girls had turned positive as the remains of the girls. We regret, therefore, informed the families that the remains are those of Ruth Abaka, Priscilla Blessing Bintum, Ruth Love Quazen, and Priscilla Cranche. Investigations now established that the girls were victims of a serial kidnapping and murdering syndicate that operated in the Takoradi area. While for various reasons we were unsuccessful in obtaining and acting on accurate, actionable intelligence in good time to enable us to rescue the girls, we believe that the arrest of the culprits has effectively thwarted the ability of this syndicate to have continued with further kidnappings and murders. Now, I'll proceed to look at the sequence of disappearances of the girls. Miss Abekan went missing.
All right, so there was acting IGP James Opombonu, and he went on, as he indicated, to tell us to give the sequence of events. But right now, we're joined via Skype by Adam Bonai, a security analyst, and he has also been following this case right from the get-go. Good evening to you, Mr. Bonai, even though this is not a good evening, but this is the news that we're getting from the police. We got this in the last hour, very sad news. But it turns out that the 4 girls who went missing have now been confirmed dead. What do you make of the news?
Yeah, good evening, Israel, and good evening to your viewers. Well, some of us probably knew this, beforehand, knew this was coming. And first of all, condolences to the bereaved family and friends. And I believe that all affected persons, everybody who probably has been part of this search, especially to yourselves, the team at Multimedia who came up with the hashtag Bring Our Tardy Girls. I think that culminated into the massive search for the rescue of these girls. But be as it may, the news is not one that we were expecting, but some of us expected, it was going to be positive or negative, but looking at how long this whole case traveled, chances of rescuing them alive, kept dwindling over the period. But the other aspect, even though it's sad, is that some sort of finality has been brought to this case. And so I hope that the family, the victims' families, direct families will take heart whilst these people who have been arrested have their day in courts.
Mr. Bona, we have been speaking with the families. Clearly, at least one of the families we spoke to, they don't believe that this actually happens to be, they don't believe the news, and essentially are resisting. They're talking about embarking on a protest and on all that. What you have said, that they would have to take heart and accept it, but this clearly is very difficult for them. What else can you say to comfort people like these who thought that they were going to have their girls back, and now it turns out that the girls are dead?
Yes, I believe if I was to be in such a situation, I would have a lot of these things going through my mind. And so I would not fault the family if they want to embark on any protests. But what I can say is that, you know, it's true, DNA has confirmed it's them. And therefore, it's, you know, whatever we do or whatever they do will not bring the girls back alive. I know sometimes we would all be in a state of denial, but I think they should take heart. I mean, all of us, anyone who has a child or has a sister, will know how it feels, or if you've lost a very close relation before. So what I can say is they should take heart and not embark on any demonstration, because it won't bring the girls back. The other aspect of it is to call for proper training for our police officers. But I must also congratulate the police, even though they've received a lot of bashing from us, for bringing this case to a close. And so in every missing persons case, you either would the security agencies would find bodies, dead persons or persons alive. And so I would say that they've worked diligently to bring this case to a close. And so we need to go back to the drawing board, all of us,
right,
because this caught us unawares.
Yeah.
And so I would say that we should all take heart and move on and ask for reforms with regards to the way missing persons cases are handled at the various police stations.
All right. Now, the acting IGP earlier, when he was speaking, he made some concessions. He talked about how critical it is in the first 48 hours when a person goes missing, that the police would act quickly. It suggests that there were some shortcomings on the part of the police, or something could have been done better, as you have also alluded to. I would be coming to you in a bit, but we have a reaction from the Bentum family, which we'll just share with you, as they have indicated that they don't accept the results. But let's hear from them.
It's not right.
So there was the reaction from the Bentum family, and this came in the last 20 minutes after the announcement was made. What we also know that at least the police had sent a team to the family in Takoradi. So the announcement, they didn't hear this announcement from the media or from the announcement from the airwaves as everybody else. They actually had the announcement broken, or the news broken to them in their homes, and we're hoping that there will be some support for them, some psychological support and counseling and all of that. One other thing before I come to you, Mr. Bonham, one other thing, we also heard from the head of the DNA laboratory at the Ghana Police Service, and he spoke earlier on Ghana Police Watch, and he talked about what to expect if it turned out to be a positive, and what is going to happen if it turns out to be a negative. I just want us to listen to what you had to say, and then I'll come back to you.
Indeed, this is the masterpiece of investigation that the police has done. It's just fantastic. The exhibits have been submitted to us in pristine condition. We have sampled, and we've been able to extract DNA, thankfully.
Okay.
That is the beginning of it.
That's good news, because there were concerns that you probably may not, the quality of the sample may not give you what you're looking for.
Exactly. So as a forensic geneticist, you have to determine which bone, which part of the human remains that we are likely to get. In this particular case, there were 4 heads, skull, that were taken. We know that for the skull, you can't miss. So we have to make sure we take samples basically from the skull and also from the teeth, some of the teeth. Basically, we had to go as far as taking the molars, and we did that. And thankfully, together with some of the femur bones, thankfully we were able to get DNA. So we're working. So we've been able to extract DNA. We will be able to tell, actually, once we've been able to extract DNA, we can say that they are human beings, but we can pin it down to the girls, as it were. Right. We are yet to delve into the genetic analysis vis-a-vis the families whose DNA we took the last time around. And then based on that, we'll be able to draw a conclusion.
So the police told us that we should expect some results in 4 weeks. How close are we?
So we are close. The analysis will be completed very soon. We are close, very close.
So if it turns out to be a no, that the DNA do not match or does not match the alleged surviving relatives, what happens?
Yeah, so if it's a no, well, straight away go back to investigations. How come those remains were found there? The police will have to unravel whatever has gone on. Okay. And then, yeah, it basically goes back to the investigations to figure out what really happened. I just hope that whichever way it turns out, you know, just as Dr. Introdanso said, the whole nation accepts it, and then we take it out from there. But I've already indicated there's a chance of a second opinion. If anybody wants to, you can always verify that, because these results are reproducible, because the exhibits are still there. So they have the benefit of that. But as I indicated, I believe in what we have done. We have done the meticulous work. Right. We have checked and double-checked. And you're still double-checking. Still double-checking. We just
Right, so that was Superintendent Dr. Efrifa. He heads the DNA laboratory at the Ghana Police Service, and he was in charge of the team that unraveled or did this DNA analysis, and the result, as we have it, this was earlier when he spoke on Ghana Police Watch on Friday. What we know now is that it has been confirmed that indeed it turned out that they are, the human remains are that of the missing girls. Now, Mr. Bonham, how would you say the country should handle this?
I think we need to do some self-introspection as a people. The way all of us, we take our own security and safety. As we speak today, some, children, corpses of some children, unfortunately, were discovered. I think in some adults, about 4 adults, some corpses were discovered somewhere else today or yesterday, thereabout. It tells you that, crime has evolved, that we still do things as if it is, there's nothing at all. And so I am expecting that as a nation, we accept these results and see how we can put in more measures to prevent this type of situation. And just like some of us said, and in fact, the acting IGP did say, the first 48 hours of crimes like this, if it goes unchecked or not properly documented, and investigations doesn't start, then you are going to have every other day that comes on top of it. Chances are that it becomes difficult to do a successful rescue. And so I would once again ask that we come together. This shouldn't be the time we try to tear each other down, because then the truth is that it's them, it's been confirmed scientifically, and they won't come back again to life. But let's see what measures can be put in place. Police training at the various police stations. How are they able to detect, a missing case that could be serious? As we speak, the police training manuals are still very old. And so these are things that we should be calling for proper reforms. Let's use this as an occasion to also ask the president and the national security team to let us have the Independent Police Complaints Commission, so that some of these things, citizens, ordinary citizens, would have a window of opportunity to report to this independent police complaint commission in terms of, you know, being able to believe that they are part of the story will be heard. You know, I think these are some of the measures that, to me, as a nation, we should be calling for in moving forward. Israel.
Now, Mr. Bona would be available on PM Express because we're staying with this story. PM Express is going to take it up. Mr. Bona is going to be there on it's just about 30 minutes. One of the questions that we would expect that he would answer has to do with where at some point we're told that the girls were in Nigeria, or they knew, the police indicated that they knew where they were, and very soon they were going to be reunited with their family. And then subsequently now we're hearing that the girls were found dead in the cesspit in the well in Takrady. If they had been taken to Nigeria, as the IGP indicated, at what point did they return to Ghana and find themselves ending up in the world? So thank you very much, Mr. Bona. We would be speaking with you again on PM Express with Evans Mensah. Now, I want to leave you with what Dr. Vladimir Chidanso said on Ghana Police Watch as to how he believes that the nation to handle this. So let's watch this one, and that will be it for JoyNews Prime tonight. Right after that, we're bringing you a hotline documentary, and then at 9 p.m. we're going to return to this conversation. But from me right now, it's a good night.
The whole nation has been on tenterhooks, on speculation, on narratives that are not professional. And so if we are able to find a yes to this, that these are the authentic bones of the missing girls, then we have not finished. We need to heal ourselves. We need to support the families. We need to disseminate this information to them in such a way that they will continue to grieve.
That is critical.
Yes.
I mean, the announcement, how it is put out to
there. Very, very important. But I think we have professionals working in this country. At times, we belittle our own competence. The work the police is doing, a friend of mine was telling me that, oh, police, what can they do? But I tell you, look at Dr. Frifa here. He's sent outside to help in investigating other cases. He's sent to teach in other schools, Syracuse, I believe, that university. You know, so we must believe in our specialists. And if they are able to let us know that this is the case or this is not the case, in either case, we must doff our heart for them. Yeah. But we must prepare ourselves for the worst. I think everywhere, I think I wrote a certain small article asking the nation to prepare for good and for bad. If the bad comes, then it is something again that we all have to share. We all have to. The announcement is very, very important. Let us not take it as if it is a kind of enter into some polemics or political kind of gimmicks about this. I believe that this is the time for the nation to show that it is a national disaster. Yeah. It is something that we have to cope with and know that these things can happen in any part of the world, in our country too.
Who would you suggest would do the announcement? Should it be the IGP or?
In such cases, the police have done their work. The police can come out. Everywhere you have the police coming out to say whatever it is. My personal advice.
It is a national issue.
It's a national issue, but we have national institutions. The institution has to work. They've done their job. Let them put it out. Let the politicians come out later to offer what steps we should take in assuaging the families and the whole nation. That would be a political decision at the strategic level. Yeah. But an institution has done some job. Let the institution tell us what their findings are. They hand it over to the politicians, and the politicians can now deal with healing the nation and healing the families. I believe if it happens that way, I will strongly suspect that the nation must support the families first with clinical psychologists to be working on them. To work on them for some time, and that will help. Secondly, the nation should take it upon themselves for the burial, if it is true, the burial, the ceremony, and the ceremony must be so national that people will now realize that no, we are all mourning, we are all in the mourning. Yeah.